I had made it very clear in the divorce that I did not want to be with my dad at the same time as my brother because that would be a total nightmare. My mother agreed with it, so she got her lawyer to work out the terms. Even though my dad was not happy about it because he believed that it was important for me to bond with my brother, I thought that it was impossible for me to bond with a monster like him. So, thankfully, my mother had taken my side and worked out an arrangement where I had to spend the bare minimum of my time with my dad and my brother, and I mostly just grew up with her. But despite that, we would spend the holidays together, and that would always be terrible because after his divorce, my brother started dating his secretary, and my mother wasn't able to stand it. He had the good sense never to bring her around when we would meet for the holidays, but my mother knew the truth and she hated it. So, the holidays would always be tense, but we had to get through it somehow because my dad wanted it, and my mother had to agree because she had already put a lot of distance between my dad, my brother, and me. And this was the bare minimum that she could do, so we could still at least pretend that we were a family and were related by blood. And that is why we would try to get along, but that was just all on the surface. Deep down, none of us really liked each other, and both my brother and I had chosen which parent we liked more, and so had our parents, which is really not right. So, I guess it's safe to say that my family was pretty dysfunctional, and I had a very weird childhood. Nevertheless, I continued to stay in touch with my dad even after I found out the truth in my senior year because my mother had told me that apparently, he was the one who was going to pay for me to go to college. So, I had to be on good terms with him, and that's the reason why she had never said anything about these things beforehand because she was afraid that I would get into a fight with him and then lose my college fund. My mother had only started working after the divorce, so she had not saved nearly enough to be able to afford the kind of college that I wanted to go to. So, my dad was my best bet. It was really hard for me, but I tried my best to stay on good terms with him. It all turned out to be pretty futile though because apparently, I never even had a college fund to begin with, and my dad continued to mistreat me and talk down to me. But a couple of months before I was supposed to graduate, a few of my friends and I decided to start our own business instead of going to college. It was a huge risk that we were taking because all of us were just 18, but we were really passionate about what we wanted to do, and we didn't think that going to college would increase our chances of getting successful quicker. It was just a leap of faith that we would have to take. I was the one who had the idea of starting our own business, and even though we were just joking about it at first, we quickly made up our minds that this was what we wanted to do. It was going to be a clothing and accessories business because we kind of wanted to revolutionize the space. Since most of the clothing and accessory stores in our neighborhood were mostly either mass-produced products from big corporations or small businesses that didn't really understand how teenagers wanted to dress and look, so my friends and I had been having a really difficult time finding stuff to wear that we could be our authentic selves in. And we got stuck wearing either really old stuff that we had to thrift or ended up looking like our dads. We had been joking about it, but it occurred to us that a lot of other people our age might have felt the same way. So, that's how our brand was born, and I'm proud to say that we have expanded considerably since then. And I'm glad that I took that risk without bothering to go to college because I think we did pretty well for ourselves. It was me and 3 of my friends who brainstormed for months and came up with a business plan. It was already decided that the 2 of us would try to design the clothes, which would not be difficult since most of us were already pretty good at art and stuff like that and were interested in fashion, and the other 2 would focus more on the business aspect of things. So, I was supposed to start looking for investors, which was going to be difficult because we were just a bunch of 18-year-old teenagers with barely any experience and no college degree.